so saucy. Welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Ken Johnson. So today we're going to be doing a DIY lure build. Stay tuned. American anglers were not short of items to fish with. Probably the simplest, most effective lure that we use here in Northwest Florida is the spoon, and just about everybody makes a spoon. It used to be made with a real spoon, and I thought about it, I was like, well, I could make a spoon out of a spoon, but that's been done before. And really, what am I really innovating? I'm making a lure that is already being made and been improved upon by companies with millions of dollars to their name. Now, for this bait, you could use a spoon, but considering how expensive baits are, why do that? So let's not use this. Now, there are a number of ways that we can get to where we're going to go. This is called a fluttering head. These are actually some old ones I got from my dad years ago. They're from H&H, 3/0 hooks. I don't know how much weight there is. They don't say the weight, they say the size. Another set that I got from Daddy, that is Arky. I don't even know if, I guess H&H is still in business. I'm sure Arky is still in business. Arky was out of Springdale, Arkansas. But they don't say the size of the hook, but rather their head is 1/16 ounce. They say this is for jerk and stick baits. So they basically took an EWG and put some weight around it. And that's what you could do. You could get an EWG, which is extra wide gap, in case you're wondering, and just put some lead around it, some split shot or whatever, and that would work. These, I've heard them called flutter hooks. I've heard them called everything in the world. This is a company called Buccaneer. They call theirs the Wiggler. Basically, this is a saltwater bait. All it is a kind of a diamond-shaped weight on a hook, and they come in different sizes. You can buy. People actually make these and sell them in the saltwater community, and they call them a bunch of different names. But it's meant to mimic a shellfish on the bottom, and it's normally used to catch pompano. So you can get these. I think a set of these were like $1 something at Walmart. With inflation and everything, they're probably now $4, $5 a hook. This right here is a 2/0 O'Shaughnessy. And this right here is a worm weight, part of a 10-pack. I've got 5 of them left, and these are 1/4 ounce. So I'm going to show how to make this bait. And you could even use split shots, like I said. So I could put a bunch of split shots, open them up, and just put them on here, and that would work. Doesn't really matter. I'm going to show you how to make this bait, though. It is a spoon, but it is a spoon like I've never seen before. You can't buy these in stores. At least I haven't been able to find them in stores, and I thought that you would like it. So let's get to work. Alright, to start things off, I've got some disposable spoons. Yes, we're not even using metal spoons here. We're going super cheap. I don't know if this is going to work, but I'm going to try it. I'm going to try to take these nippers and see if my nippers will cut this. If they will. They did. So I'm going to just kind of nip this off right here. Great. So I'm going to nip all these off, and we'll come back. I'll probably take a whetstone or sanding paper or something other and sand this down just a little bit so it's not too rough, but I'm not too worried about that. I may even take a lighter and hit that with a lighter, but we're just going to smooth that out. I'm going to cut these off and I'll show you the next step. Although a lighter would work a lot faster, I had some sandpaper handy and I'm just sanding this down a little bit so I don't have any rough edges. I'm using 150. You could use any grit really. 80 grit would be fine. This is Dollar Tree sandpaper I'm using. This is as cheap as you can get on this project here, and like I said, you could use a dollar lighter and just melt it and run on something cold and hard and do like that. That would be fine. And yes, you can see this is Dollar Tree sandpaper. It is super cheap. There's hardly no grit left on it because this plastic took all the grit off of it and ripped through the paper. But the thing is, it's now all smooth. They're all roughly about the same size. Alright, now we're going to put these to the side for a moment and look at what the star of the show really is. My wife, thankfully, deals a lot in, or she had a business where she would cut things and make designs, and she had a lot of this vinyl. Now you can buy vinyl from Dollar Tree. You can also buy vinyl from Michael's, Hobby Lobby, vinyl stores, online. But if you know anybody cuts vinyl, they always have scrap around that they can't really do anything with. And tell them that you want the cheapest vinyl that they got. You don't need the kind that you iron on. You want the kind that just sticks. So there's multiple types. The iron-on has to have heat in order for it to adhere. This is the cheap stuff that just sticks. It's like you was doing a sign or, on plastic or something other. So they have different types. Like I said, the cheaper kind is actually kind you want. So this is a pearlescent colored prismatic. This is a blue. This right here is a glittery gold. This is a yellow. I'm only going to do 3. I think I'm going to do chartreuse. I'm going to do chartreuse, this color and that color, I think. And might later do one because this right here looks like a redfish would eat it in a heartbeat. So I really believe this would be redfish candy here, so I might make me a 4th one. But for right now, for our purposes, I'm going to show you how to make one, then I'll make 3 and show you those. I may make a 4th one off camera and still show you. But what we're going to do is kind of measure. This is actually perfect. So I've got Dollar Tree ruler. So this is inches here, and I'm going to say that this right here I need 2.5 inches, and then I'm gonna need another 2.5 inches, so that's 5, and then I want a tail, and so I'm gonna give 2 inches on that. So I'm gonna need this whole length. Really, it'd be better if it was 9 inches long, but since it's not 9 inches, we're going to use this full length. This is actually 8 1/4 inch, roughly, but this will work. What I'm going to do now is take my heads, and I'm going to figure out the hooks I want to use. And I'm thinking I'm going to try 3 different ways, just to show y'all the 3 different ways. So this right here, right here is one of the H&H. Their Flutter head 3/0 hook. I'm going to go ahead and use a Archie. Is it Archie or Archie? Sorry, Archie for Arkansas. Duh. I'm going to use an Archie here. And then ideally I would like the weight to be here. That's what I don't like about this Archie. I like the other better from H&H because it does more of the fluttering that I'm wanting. It's more sensitive weight wise backwards back here. That right there is practically money. What I'm going to do is put a dab of Fix All adhesive by Super Glue. You can find this at Dollar Tree. I am not sponsored by Dollar Tree, Archie, H&H, Ozark Trail, any of these companies. I'm just telling you what I'm using so that you can try it. But this right here is just a $1.25 actually, because now it's $1.25 tree. And so I'm just going to put this in here. It allows you to have some wiggle room in setting it. I'm going to put my glue on there and then I'll come back once I've got all this glued in. So I'm going to give a little bit of advice on here. You'll notice as this dries, it's kind of eating into the plastic just a little bit. The reason why is because these types of glues commonly use acetone in them. And so if you know anything about acetone will eat plastic, it will eat through paint, it does a lot of stuff. So because we're using vinyl and glues and things of this nature, once it's kind of firmed up and it's sitting like this, I like to let mine sit overnight. That just gets rid of any of the acetone and make sure that's not eating through anything. So you could use epoxy. Problem with epoxy, if I was doing a bunch of these, first of all, it's expensive. Second of all, I mean that Ducko's, or not Ducko, but the Super Glue Fix All, which is their knockoff of Ducko, $1.25 versus I think my local hardware store sells Ducko now for $6 a tube. You can get it cheaper off of Amazon. If I went to get some epoxy, the cheapest I can get epoxy is about $5 for a small tube that would do roughly 6 spoons. And that's it. And you still have to wait a minimum of 5 minutes, plus you have to mix it, and it all has to be just right. And I've been constantly adjusting, making sure everything's straight. You have to do it all at one time, whereas this, I don't have to do it all at one time. And you can put as much or as little, and then put the cap back on this. You can't do that with epoxy. Once you mix it up, whatever you mixed up, that's what you got. So for that reason, I don't like epoxy for this application because I'm trying to keep on the cheap. But if you want to use epoxy, it's your lure. You can do whatever you wish. Another thing is that if you have UV resin, you could definitely use UV resin and already be done with this. So it's up to you what you wish to use as your glue. But I'm going to let these sit overnight just because I want all of the acetone out of this before I put my latex on it. And also expose it to all them glues. It's going to be kind of binding everything together. Okay, so these have set overnight, and what I did is I tried multiple things, but basically I just ended up with the nippers. I took the nippers because these, if you look, the back of the spoon is a little bit too far back for me. I want it to be a little bit more up front. If you had a grinding wheel that you could put on a low setting, that would work, or you could just sand forever. I'm impatient, so I just took the nippers and cut them and used this. So I've got one more to do. I'll show you. It crushes them though, so that's the problem. Just remember that it crushes them. But basically what I've been doing is going figuring out where I want this. I'm going to start right here. Trim that down back. Now I want this to come up here, so I'm going to come okay, and then like that. Nip that a little bit off there that was jagged, and then we'll come up here. Okay. Okay, once I get it like I want it, so that's about close enough. This is when the heat comes on. Just kind of run it over and melt those edges, and that does do a lot to fuse that back together where it's cracked. Not that's that important. A little bit important. And just kind of smooth over anything that else you got. There you go. So that's trimmed down now. Alright. And this is still gonna move around. This epoxy would probably be a better choice, but I didn't want to use epoxy. I'm trying to keep it cheap. So again, we're doing this for the cheap. If you wanted something a little bit more strong, you could use epoxy. You could use a metal spoon. You could beat out metal. You do whatever you wish. But there we go there. Alright, for the chartreuse piece, you want it to be about 2 inches wide. There's a lot of discussion amongst lure makers. Some say that you want 1.5 times the length of the hook as your tail. So this right here is 2 inches long roughly. So that means I need 2 inches out here, or actually 3 inches out here. 1.5, 2.5. So 1.5 be about 3 inches, making this a 5-inch bait. That's the max you want for your tail. Others say that you can go up to 2 times. And the thing is, tail is what gets a lot of action. That's what he said. But anyway, that would put me at 4 inches. And that'd make it a 6-inch bait. When I fold this in half, I remember I was only at 8 inches, 8 1/4. Now it's 1/8 1/8. 1/8 1/8, or 4 1/8 inches. Alright, so that I'm basically going to get about 2 inches. I'm only doing one time, not even doing 1.5 times. One time on this one. And you got to figure out what's right for you. You're making this, you can do it any way you want. Now I could split this and do it that way, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to nick a thing about center. And I could have been more precise, but I wasn't. I just want to make sure this will go through. And this will. Like that. So now, we're going to peel this off here. There's always an edge right here that where you can get it off at, and a needle helps. A needle or a knife, a needle works the best. I don't happen to have a needle. You can use a push pin. I've seen people do that. That works. Just remember that this latex is very, very thin. The paper is thicker than the latex. So now what I'm going to do, slide this in like that. Peel this back. All right, now put the needle through, or the hook through. Take a knife real quick, try to assist right here. There we go. Now, it's not very pretty. I'm not saying this is going to be the prettiest thing in the world. Just going to say this is going to be effective. Now, got all these air gaps. Get all these air gaps out. And you could do a better job than what I did. 3-year-old could do a better job than what I did. I'm not doing pretty. I know I'm not doing pretty. Okay. I'm going to go to the center. See that cut I made? Just kind of spoon shaped. We'll go from this center here Cut on the outline. See that some of the edges are trying to unstick. Don't worry about that. Just put them back together for now. I'm just using my wax paper here that I got from my my vinyl. Put a dollop out. Don't take much. Probably won't use all that for this one, but I'll use it for the next one. So you can be very sparing with it. First thing I'm going to do is all the big holes. I want to put a good gloop of this on here. So I'm going to put this all around it. This is almost like silicone, but better because it acts like glue as well. Again, I'm using scraps. I bought these jig heads for a Pompano trip about a year ago, 2 years ago. I went one time and that was it. You see how much I pompano fish. I don't pompano fish that much just because it's a pain getting to the beach. And then when you get to the beach, you have to walk miles and miles and miles because the way our government has things set up. You can't just fish wherever you want to fish. And there's no designated areas for fishermen. You know, we paid for that beach. Let's see, there's another area. And also, I can just take my hands and rub it and it comes right off. I love that. Although these spoons, you could do like some spoon shapes with UV resin. That would be cool. You could definitely do that. There's a little hole right there I'm going to try to force open. I'm going to let this set a little while and then it'll glue to itself. Okay, so another way you can do this is if you got a wide enough piece. Now I went ahead and changed my mind a few times on colors, trying to figure out the best way of doing this. You can measure this out. As long as you got 4 inches, you're good across. This is 4 by 6 more or less. Main thing is keep everything equal. So what I did, I measured, ran a line, and then I kind of estimated, I judged a little off on this. This right here, I'm going to take right here, and I'm going to actually get me a piece of metal or something other to cut through so I don't cut through my table. There we go. And that's the opening there. And so we got that opening for the hook. Now I can just cut this right here. One side is going to have the little easy peel part, and one side won't. But it is what it is. Put it right here. This. here. This right here makes for a better tail. This is a foil, more or less. And then go back to the, it won't look pretty. Okay, this is the last one. We're going to use this color here, and I've already marked it, so I'll spare you all that and show you when it's done. I did want to note something about this. This is true vinyl. This isn't that full stuff like the blue. So this is the color that normally is. It's printed on blue vinyl. So this is that the holographic part. You'll see some blues in it. It's because of the blue behind it. And what I did, you can't hardly see it, but I just clipped a little hole right there to go around the that hook shank there. I forgot to mark that, so I went ahead and marked that. And we'll cut a pretty good, not about a 1/4 inch cut right there, so that it can go around that hook, and I've already cut that. While the glue's drying, I figured let's not waste the scraps here. So I bought, it's called Kugel. You can use whatever brand you want, but I went on Amazon. I found some hole cutters. They come in 3 different sizes, and then I've got this right here as well. And I just kind of figured, let's not waste this. So I got some electrical tape. I'll show you what I'll do with that in a second. Let me clean off my area a little bit. I think I want to use this size. I don't think I want to use that size. I may want to use, here's a, see, I'll show you a little example of how big this gets. The only thing I dislike about this is it does get caught up. That's a little bit smaller. I think I may use this for what I'm going to do with the black. Okay, so what I've done is just put this in here, got all the way to the back. One quick thing, there we go. Run this out. There we go. Perfect. Well, almost perfect. Round circle. There we go. That looks good. Okay, so I've got this right here. It's got paper on the back. Oh yeah, that does a lot better with the paper on the back. So, cuts a lot better. So if you game with paper on the back, that's what you need to do. Cut a strip. Get a piece of this black paper here, or this white paper here that we've been using for peel and stick. And I'm going to lay it on here. Okay. That's on there nice and good. I think I'm going to take the small one and make sure it's lined up, and do me some eyes. Put these here. So what it is, there's this little bit of black tab that I can grab onto my fingernail. Comes right off. Okay. What we'll do, like on this one here, I'm thinking the eye would look good about right there. So I'm just going to put a dollop of glue on the back. Not much, just enough to hold it. I'm putting a little dollop of glue right there. Not much, just kind of enough to get a little tack going. Let this set for a few seconds. Right here would actually be better for super glue or something other, but I didn't. Alright. So we've got an eye there. We'll go ahead and pinch this together now that this is cured. These will come together a lot easier now. Alright, on this one, got another one. Just gonna put just a little bit of glue right here, just to hold it in place. Don't worry, I'll come back later and I'll show you what I'm gonna do there. But that goes right there. And this one is actually going to be easier than the rest of them for one reason. That's because this has glue already on the back of it. So I'm just going to get that piece off. That's the only hard part, is getting this piece off. Now this go here. Again, don't worry about it right now because I'll take care of the rest in a minute. Okay, so I've got some Harbor Freight epoxy here, and so I'm going to mix this up and put it over the eyes. So, got a little bit of part A, about a dime size, nickel size, something like that. And then same amount of part B. That's your resin. The main thing I'm going to do is just to first get a good layer on it and around it so that it's stuck in good. Again, I'm not trying to do this like I'm a professional bait maker. This is us just having fun. Any extra and go on top. Not really worried too much about that right now. I think I need that extra bit, I will, but really and truly I think the eyes are more for the angler than it is for the fish. I don't think fish really pay that big of attention to eyes. I think that is more the angler than anything else. But I believe that 90% of the baits out in the market are meant to catch the angler, not the fish. Alright, we'll be back in a little bit after this settles. Alrighty, so everything is dried and is ready pretty much. But I don't know if you can see, there's a curve where that's going up. And that creates a sense of rigidity there. So what we're going to do is we're going to take these hole cutters and cut about 3 or 4 holes along the tail of each of these. And then after we cut the holes, I'm going to take some scissors and in opposite direction cut slots to the holes, and I'm going to actually expand the slits, and then that will allow the tail to move a little bit better. Alright, so you can see here there's some little tabs, so just cut those off. That'll be fine. I did 3. I think 3 will be fine. We'll see how it works. If not, we can always add more. Alright, so you can see what I did is I actually cut this a little bit wider than what I needed to, and the reason for that is so that this tail here will flop. And so now the center has no rigidity holding it back. There's no pressure on the sides or anything of that nature. You relieved all that pressure is all you're doing. Now if I was using plastic, you know, like injectable plastics, moldable plastics, I wouldn't have to worry about this because I can make my mold, put my weighted hook in there, my spoon weight, and just pour the plastic over, inject the plastic, and it'd be fine. But since I don't have that, this is how I handle the problem with latex. Okay, so this one did a little bit differently. It was a little thicker and a little bit more rigid than this one here. So what I did, you'll notice I only did the 3 holes there. I did 6. And on the 6th I did two lines there, 2 lines there, and then alternated line there. Alright? And then what I did, wherever I had a thick spot, I just cut out a little triangle piece, and that makes it have a little bit more action. Alright, now we'll take these out to water and try them. Alright, so I'm just trying out the new little spoon lure. Got a very lightweight Ozark Trail Wayfarer. Don't see, let's see, it's 5 foot 6 inch medium light. So it's got a neat little flutter. I don't know if you can see it. I'll try to get it up. Look at that flutter. Wow, that has got a neat little flutter. That's got a neat flutter. See how that goes down? It comes up like a dream, flutters down like a dying fish. It's got a weird erratic action. Then wants to go back down. It's a very weird erratic action. Wow. I really do like that. That's something they ain't ever seen before. Oh, that just fluttering down beautifully. Taking its time going down. I could see that being like for saltwater. Little bitty ones. Imagine this for like sheephead. Do little micro spoons. Let's see, I'm hung up on something. Of course. Broke off. Hey, we got the holographic one on now. It's got the little flutter hook thing on it. So it's gonna be a little lighter, not as heavy. It's got the weird tail on it. Doesn't drop down as fast. It's got more of a circling action. It's like a dying fish. Find that interesting. Might need to, but it stays in the water column more. Oh yeah. This one, I can see a striper going nuts with that. It's just staying in the water column. Just not going down deep, just kind of slowly going down. It'll eventually sink, but it's like it's dying. When you twitch it, and that holographic stuff shining like a spotlight in the water with the sun. I'm loving this. I hope you can see this. The tail action is not what I wanted, but that's because I've got less weight. If you have more weight, you get more tail action on the bottom. Well, you get more tail action period because the water resistance would be higher. But man, just kind of floating around like a dying fish. All you gotta do is just little twitches. You don't even have to work this that much. Just itty bitty little twitches. This is a slow bait. Like with bass in the summertime when they're just not wanting to eat much, they're wanting big baits, they want them slow moving. That right there, that's it. That's the ticket. And like I said, you can go up to the top. It's got some tail whip, but not much. But it stays pretty much in top of the water and then slowly sinks down. So let's see how long it takes to sink down to the bottom. So we're about I'd say 5 foot from the bottom right here. So 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000, 4 1000, 5 1000, 6 1000, 7 1000, 8 1000. So 8 seconds to go to about 6 foot deep of water. That's a slow bait. slow fall. Means you can stay up top and work it, jerk it quick like I'm doing right here. Here, I'll show you. You can just kind of jerk it a little bit, keep it at top. As world's worst cast, but like you got stripers or something like that, man, they don't hit that, I don't know what will. You did this in gold, redfish. This is redfish candy all day long. Especially put it down kind of low, like almost on the bottom, and then twitch it. That is redfish candy all day long when it's in gold. So that prismatic color, I do like that. And it, I don't know if the camera's picking up, but it's almost like little spotlights going through the water. Very neat. There, right there is some floating mullet from the freeze that we had. So fish are got food everywhere right now. So this is perfect time right after a blizzard to play around with bait design. So I'm gonna cast out again. This does not cast out that great. It's harder to see because it's blue. Doesn't pick up the light as well. Really, the only way I can see it is with the eye. But it's got a good flutter. It doesn't stay up in the water column as much. It doesn't have, it does more rolls, but it wants to dive down more. So that archy hook behaves differently. And then it's like it just kind of doing a death wiggle down. That tail moves back and forth so beautifully, like it's real. Different action, different tail design, different hook. Changes everything. And also, I imagine this medium that I'm using, this vinyl, that it behaves differently because you got different components. It's not all the same material. But I can't keep this up in the water column like I can the other. It wants to dive. So those archy hooks, they want to dive more. They're shaped differently. They're built differently. And so they want to go down more, whereas the other ones want to stay up on top. So that's good to know when you're making this bait. Now, same area, let's see how it goes as far as dropping this down and seeing how far it goes down. We're saying this is about 6 foot. 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000, 5 1,000, 6. So it's dropping about a foot a second now. But man, it's got that dead minnow, dime minnow. Could you imagine being on a bass bed, dropping this down on there on a bed, and just lightly because that head stays right there. It look like it's attacking. You can just keep it there. You can just bump it just a little bit. It would stay right there. This would be bass candy come bedding time. I mean, just lay it in there and just bump it. And this is more nose heavy, this Arky. So you can just keep it right there. That right there, it's the right color. Bass love blue and black. Those are my favorite colors for bass. This is bass candy right here. The other was striper all day long. If you had it in gold, I would say it was redfish all day long. Really, I wouldn't want to use it for Spanish mackerel, but if you had it in silver or something other, you could do it for Spanish mackerel and drive them nuts. But man, this right here, this is largemouth all day long with that Arky hook. So that's something to remember. Not only does your hook size and all that matter, but also the design of the flutter hook you're using and the weight. Because like the yellow one, it wanted to go straight down. It wanted to go straight down. And I wish I hadn't lost it so I could have showed you the action on that. But that's the lures. I haven't named it yet. I don't know what to name it. I'm thinking about maybe revising this and doing another line, but not using the vinyl. If I do that, I'll, please let me know, and if I do that, you'll see that soon. But I'd love to hear your thoughts on this type of lure. It's not something I normally do, but it made so much sense I had to try it. And I'm just loving this design, and it's so cheap. I mean, anybody can make it. You could really and truly, you could use hot glue and cut down time. You could use super glue. I would use Loctite, but I was trying to keep it cheap and easy and accessible, so that you're not spending a ton of money on lures. So just tell me your thoughts. I'd love to hear it. Please give this video a like, comment, subscribe if you hadn't already, if you found this be informative, entertaining, and I'll see you again next time. Bye.